So I just did like a 30-minute experiment. I'm going to post the audio and the pictures. I did not have the time to set up a recording. It was impromptu, so I do apologize for that. I did want to get to the meat and potatoes of what you need to know versus having to watch an entire video of me walking through and testing out these things. Long story short, if you're like me and you need dual SIM and you want to carry one phone, your options are limited, especially with DSDS as the current technology. And then you've got other variables such as, is it an iPhone? Are you texting an iPhone? Are you texting Android? Are you an Android phone? Is it unlocked? Is it a carrier of software? All these different variables that determine your experience. Physical SIM, eSIM, etc., etc. So I prefer physical SIM cards, and unfortunately we are limited by DSDS, and until they enable DSDA, we won't really have that true dual SIM experience. So a workaround if you're on T-Mobile is to first, you're gonna use your dual SIM. Now, the example I'm going to give is based on my experience, anecdotal experience with a Sony Xperia 1, which is bland software. I'm saying that for a reason. I'll discuss Samsung in a moment, but this phone the Sony has a physical dual SIM, so that's why I chose this phone for my example. You enable your dual SIM, and then second, you're going to download digits on that device, and then enable the second SIM to have access on digits. Note, with Google Messages and RCS, only the line in SIM 1, i.e. the line using for data and calls. I have mine for data. That's typically the line that's going to receive RCS. The second SIM card will only use SMS, MMS. The issue is if I'm on a call and someone calls me or sends me a message, I don't get it in real time. And that's frustrating and concerning. Not everyone leaves messages. It could be an emergency, text, whatever, you never know. DSDA absolves that, but until it's active, we'll have to find a workaround, which I found. Alright, once you've downloaded the app, boom. So example 1, if SIM 1 is active on a call and SIM 2 receives a call or a text, you'll be notified through digits. You can also answer this call and place the call on SIM 1 on hold while you talk through digits on SIM 2. Or you can also reply through the Digits app as well. Now, I am reluctant to do that because I back up my messages and they're not syncing symmetrically. What that means, you don't get to what you get in your inbox as far as sent is concerned is not synchronized back and forth. Received messages should come to both devices 90% of the time, but not what you send. So if you reply from digits, it's only going to show on digits. If you reply from your phone app, it's only going to show on your phone app. So I'm using it set up as a notification system so that I can be prompted to either end my call, or I know that I have a message that will be delivered to me once I get off the phone call with the second SIM card. And those messages were typically delivered within 0 to 3 minutes, regardless of my interaction with digits. In the event you need to back this up, you can either take screenshots or forward the messages from Digits to yourself and save them that way if you happen to respond from Digits. What else am I gonna say? So the caveat to that is so this is my example with the Sony. The Samsung, they have a feature where you have dual SIM always active. And what that was doing was you put your phone numbers in and it forwards the calls between both numbers as you're on a call with either number, essentially eliminating your need for call waiting because the call will come through that way. So if you're comfortable with eSIM and you're doing dual SIM and you want to use the Digits app, you can get around this always. Because, oh wait, I don't want to confuse you. Okay, boom. Hold that. Alright, so also make sure you have disabled RCS for SIM2 through messages.google.com. Disable chat if applicable. So because there's no setting or it doesn't work on this phone, the Sony, if you're doing the reverse and you are on a call with SIM2 and someone calls you on SIM1, they're going to get dead air and then it'll go to their voicemail. You are not notified of this activity unless obviously they leave a voicemail. You can and you do receive your RCS because that's only needing data and you can send it through Wi-Fi or data. So you'll get your text messages on SIM1 if you're on a call on SIM2, but you don't get call waiting, at least with this particular implementation on this device. If you're using eSIM and dual SIM or dual SIM on a Samsung and you have that setting activated I mentioned earlier, then you will get call waiting because it's going to forward the call through the other call, the active call, if that makes any sense. Why it doesn't do it on this one, I don't know. So that is the drawback with this setup of dual SIM. You don't have that problem with Samsung. What else am I missing? So at the end of the call, the message that I received while on a call through Digits were delivered within 0 to 3 minutes, depending on if it was a picture or a message, which is great. So I can reply from there. That way I have everything in one location and I really wouldn't use texting from Digits unless, whatever. But I really wouldn't. I'll just wait. Alright, what else is missing? You can't have call waiting. Alright, Digits. Alright, idle. When the phone was idle and I called Digits and the phone did ring, and then it looks like Digits stopped ringing at some point, but no matter, I answered from the phone dialer app and it worked just fine. If you want, you can go into settings and disable messages, voicemails, or text and voice if you don't want Digits to notify you of those activities, depending on your needs. Me, I just left them all on. What else is missing? There still may be some concerns with 5G being enabled, whether it's a T-Mobile issue. I've seen this issue across all carriers, all platforms, all manufacturers. So it's not exclusive to Android or T-Mobile. It just is more reoccurring with us because we don't have iMessage and most people are FaceTiming using iMessage and texting other iPhone users, so they're not even aware that they could potentially be missing SMS, MMS because of this issue. Nonetheless, I think it may or may not be resolved. I'm going to keep testing it. Prior to just using 4G LTE eliminated these issues of people saying they called me and I had no indication that that took place. They sent me a message, I got a voicemail. None of that was happening. For some reason, with 5G turned on, whether it's relative to the location or tower, your phone was disconnecting from the network. And I've got a video of this showing that with this, I'm calling it and it's literally not ringing, but it's going to voicemail. I have no indication of it. But then turning 5G off, it instantaneously comes through, messages come through. And the problem was people were texting me stuff and I wasn't getting it at all. So if that starts to happen or I notice it, then I'm going to have to just turn 5G off on both SIM cards, but so far so good. As far as the internal RCS with T-Mobile, so when I texted from the third phone, which is a branded Samsung by T-Mobile, it showed delivered on that screen. But the message came through digits first. And of course, when I hung up the phone, it came through the phone app. Of course, on the recipient end, I did not notice any chat functionality on that SIM 2. However, when I opened the message in digits, it marked it as read on the other phone. When I responded or began to respond through digits, it did show the typing indicator. However, when I did that on the phone app, it did not, obviously, right? What I don't know is if T-Mobile has implemented RCS through digits somehow, or if this is just internal because both phone numbers are on the T-Mobile network and the phone that is sending the communication can recognize that it's being sent to a digits platform and do the RCS chat stuff, but you're not privy to it that is taking place. So your mileage may vary. Also, finally, depending on who originates the conversation, if it's a pre-existing text thread, if you're on a call, if you've responded in the message from both phone app and digits app, you may or may not have impacts on whether or not the message is coming through RCS. So that may vary, but either way, the message is still being delivered in some capacity. So this alleviates my concerns for now with missing your communication. So I don't have to worry about that. The only thing I do need to concern myself with is if I'm on SIM 2 and I get a phone call on SIM 1, call waiting is not working with this implementation. Now I could switch it around and use my Ultra and use eSIM and not have to worry about that and then put digits on that phone. I may do that, but right now I'm not. So if you have dual SIM set up on your Samsung through a T-Mobile branded carrier, then you do have RCS through the Samsung's app. You don't have to use Google's app. I have to use Google's app because I have an unlocked phone and I don't want to install T-Mobile's firmware. Not yet anyways. I don't really care to do all that. It should work out the box. But call forwarding should work. Call waiting should work if you do it and you have data. Always turn dual SIM always active on the Samsung. That feature doesn't seem to be working on the Sony phone. So that's the only drawback for now until we get DSDA. hope this helps someone and at least makes it seamless for now.
Keep on running. I'm running from unhappiness. No place to go but towards the end. 'Cause I'm not impressed with the messages sent by those claiming they know me. 5,000. Thin lady. Block on lock, the trunk stay locked. Block on cock, the block stay hot. Bang. Break it down. Here we go, my friend.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Wait, I just got paid, making energy. Ain't this my son? Ain't this my movie? Ain't this my world to be through my children?
Get away from my windshield! Trying to wash my windows with that old dirty water. You know you can see, girl. You should have listened when your mother told you to get an education. I got my education.
Ain't trying to hurt nobody. Trying to bring the life within your body.
Alright, so I'm going to share with you my solution for dual SIM on Android devices and the limitations that are imposed with the DSDS design in the current software, modem, whatever. I'm on T-Mobile and I like having a physical SIM card because I'm able to pull my SIM card out and put it in another phone without having to call or do anything. We used to be able to manage our SIM cards online via self-service. However, several months ago, they took that away because of all the fraud going on. So hopefully they bring that back soon. I tried using eSIM on my S23 Ultra and I had to call. Well, actually, the phone allowed me to convert the physical to the eSIM by itself, which was great. But when I wanted to go back to the physical, I had to call them or chat them. I decided to call, and it was about 30 minutes in total from waiting on hold and then getting them to do it. But once they got on the phone, it was a couple minutes. That being said, even though it was seamless, I don't like that. I'd rather have self-service, so I'm really not trying to use eSIM until they give us self-service options. But irregardless of that, physical is where it's at. So I did the physical eSIM because I wanted to try dual SIM. And so with DSDS, there's limitations if you're on line 1. So I bought an unlocked Galaxy, and because I don't have this T-Mobile firmware on the phone, I had to use Google Messages if I want RCS chat capabilities. Samsung Messages interface to me is better. They're dark, actually looks dark, and I wish, I know I can download the firmware, but I don't feel like doing all that. I think it should just work out of the box. But nonetheless, here I am with the issue. So I noticed that now they have a setting where you can keep dual SIM always active, and essentially what's happening with that setting is your calls are, if you're on line 1 and line 2 gets a call, typically it will go to voicemail. You wouldn't be notified that someone called you. Now it's forwarding the call forwarding essentially, which is great for calls, but it doesn't allow you to get SMS, MMS messages, which is what the second SIM is defaulted to, because Google Messages doesn't allow RCS to be enabled for both numbers on dual SIM, which to me is stupid since it's only data. And on the iPhone, a reason a lot of them don't really notice the limitations of DSDS is because the iPhone is, I mean, iMessage is data specific. So as long as you have cellular connectivity or Wi-Fi, you can use both numbers. And most of them text iPhone users. So the only time you're not going to get a notification is going to be if you're on an active call and that second SIM gets a text message that's on SMS or MMS. They won't get it until the call concludes. I'm pretty sure they have a setting where data is always on or something like that. So that's why they're able to get call waiting on both SIMs. I think. I know it works on the S23 Ultra, so I have to assume it's going to work on iPhone with the call waiting. But they're both limited by SMS, MMS if you're on Android. Not so much on iMessage if you're doing iMessage, since it's only data required until now as far as my solution. So, long story short, I was not feeling the eSIM, and so I switched back because I need to switch back. All right, boom. So now I'm back with my situation where I gotta get rid of these phones. I don't want to carry multiple phones. So I had an aha moment. So what I did was I bought a dual SIM phone, which is the Sony Xperia 1, which is the only physical dual SIM phone that kind of crossed off what I wanted if I'm going to spend my money. The OnePlus 11 does have, and the OnePlus Nord 30, they do have physical SIM slots, but they come with their own oddities that I didn't want to deal with that. So literally the only phone I found that was kind of name brand or had 5G, the Snapdragon, all that stuff was the Sony. There was another new device, but it was only 4G, so that wouldn't work for me. But anyways, I needed it, and plus I want physical at this point, so especially for now until they give us back self-service. Boom. All right, so I took the SIM card out and I put them both in the phone again. So now I'm back to square one. So I'm like, okay, what can I do to not miss calls on this second SIM card, but still keep RCS on at least one of the lines? Because I do imagine at some point Google is going to enable that for both lines, since and it's going to basically run like iMessage does, where you just need data for RCS to work, since we can text from it with Wi-Fi. So I don't know why they won't enable that for both numbers. I don't know. It's lazy to me. It's simple coding. So hopefully that comes out soon. Allegedly, the X70 modem does do DSDA, which is dual active SIM, true, where it doesn't matter, but it's not enabled. The X75 and the Gen 3 is going to be Gen 2 version of this software. So hopefully we get some activity with that and get it enabled across all devices. But for now, if you're on T-Mobile, here's a workaround for dual SIM. I'd imagine it works the same if you use eSIM. Well, duh, it does. Whether you're using a Pixel, Samsung, Sony, whatever. So you set your RCS up on line 1, which is the line that's receiving data and calls. I currently have on the Xperia, asks me every time for calls, and data is preferred on the physical SIM on line 1. I put the second SIM in, of course, it's SMS, MMS only. So then I said, okay, I downloaded digits and my solution worked. So if I'm on a call with line 1 and the second line gets a phone call, because this Xperia isn't forwarding the calls like it did on my Samsung, it doesn't forward the calls or send messages at all if you have dual SIM on the Samsung and you're using Google Messages. Now, maybe this is slightly different if you're using a carrier version of the phone. You may be able to get some type of RCS or something. I don't know. I don't have that to test. But what I did was I enabled digits for that second line on the phone. I called line 1, called the second line from another number. The call came through. Perfect, right? So now I don't have to worry about missing phone calls if I'm on a phone call. I sent a text message. The text came through. Now, of course, this is going through digits and not. Okay, so let me slow down. Boom. So there. So now you can know if the notification is urgent or how to respond to it. If you are, because digit only needs Wi-Fi or data to work. So I showed you the screenshots of what I have enabled as far as settings is for digits and how it works from the interface perspective. This also resolves the issue of dual SIM having the voicemail limitation, because visual voicemail only works for one of the SIMs, which is often the primary SIM, and SIM 1, which again, I need dual SIM, visual voicemail for both. So if you're on T-Mobile and you have digits, you can at least get that. Now, I don't know about iMessage or iPhone, so I can't speak to how their voicemail works with visual voicemail. I think they do get visual voicemail on both SIMs, but not on Android, at least on the ones devices that I've tested. So with digits, you now get the benefits of visual voicemail on that second SIM, and you can see your messages if you're on a call. Now, I would not use digits to. Okay, so boom. I ended the phone call, right? And then a minute or 30 seconds later, whatever, the message came through. So, if it was an urgent situation, I could end the call or respond from digits if I need to, or wait till I finish my phone call. For me, if you back up your messages, digits doesn't sync with this whatever inbox sends it, whether you send it through the phone messages or digits, that's not synced. The inboxes are synced, but the outgoing isn't synced. So I wouldn't reply from digits if you're trying to keep a record of your messages. And what else I was going to say? Okay, so boom. So once I ended the call, the text came through. So then I could respond from the messages app versus digits if I want to keep a history. Worst case scenario, you would just have to either screenshot or forward those messages from digits if you want to keep a historical view of the conversation, or simply just respond from the messages app once your call is concluded. Figure out your situation that way. And this is all because we don't have DSDA active, and Google doesn't do dual SIM RCS for both lines. So what this eliminates for you is, in the event you want to run dual SIM, you have a work phone, business phone, personal, whatever, and you're worried about missing phone calls, you're worried about, you want that peace of mind, and I have to worry about, did someone call me, did I get a missed message, etc., etc. This, at least with digits, you now have that option. Now, the notifications obviously are going to be double, and you can go into digits and modify those settings as far as which settings you want to be notified on. To me, that's a small, that's not really a issue, because I'm getting the solution that I need. I'll just use digits as a backup as far as an inbox, but I'm not going to use it and voicemails. I will use it for voicemails, visual voicemail, and I will also use it to make sure I'm not missing any notifications while I'm on another call. And I would only send messages from the messages app in the event I'm trying to keep track of everything. So I'm going to send myself a text while I'm actually doing this now, just to see. So the only thing is, you will have duplicate notifications. Now, again, it's up to the user. You can turn off digit notifications as far, or deselect messages, deselect calls if you feel you don't want both to come through or have duplicate notifications, or you can remember to disable it if you're not on a call. I don't think that's necessary. And matter of fact, I meant to also, I'm glad I'm doing this live. So digits has this, it's weird. When I was testing the other day, I noticed this. So like, depending on when the conversation originates from, if it's like it's intuitively knowing, like, so if I just send myself a message and I did not get a duplicate text message, I only got it on the phone because I'm not on a phone call. Now I'd imagine if I'm on a phone call and it realizes that I can't receive that message, it would send it to digits. So it's actually good that it didn't do that, which is interesting. Now if I open digits, the message is not there, which is supposed to sync. But I see the message on the number I see the message in the inbox I care about, which is the messages app. So I'm not even going to complain about it. Now I'm going to respond. All right, so it went through, but so digits isn't the syncing. So, and I think it's because the messages it didn't originate from digits. That's why it's not syncing that way. But regardless, for my use case, I'm not going to use digits other than to download visual voicemails and to be notified of calls or text messages while I'm on line one on a phone call. But if I'm idle, then I don't need to worry about digits, which is actually eliminates my point I was going to make about I'd rather just clear the digit notification than turn off notifications. But it seems like it's doing it for me on the background, and it's smart enough to realize that I'm able to receive this message. Now what I'm about to do is call and see if that makes a difference. So let me call. I'm calling line one. All right, so I'm on a call on line one. And now I'm going to text line two. From a separate number. Okay, nothing's coming through. Nothing. Okay, so the text message is not coming through. Let me see why that is. Okay, let me try calling it. Okay, so the call came right through. The call came through, but I'm not seeing the text message. Let me try again. It worked before I started recording this video, which is weird. Let me hang up and see why it's not coming through. It just worked perfectly. So let me see what, maybe it's frozen. What am I missing here? All right, so the messages are coming in now, but not. All right, hold on. I'm doing this in real time, so let me see. All right, so now the message is showing from that other number. Now I'm about to go test my theory real quick. So what I'm about to do is go into my settings. This better not be the problem. I'm gonna be so mad if it is. Go into my SIM settings for the second line and turn 5G off. And just use LTE. And like I suspected, it came through. Like all the messages I just sent came through back to back. This is 5G sucks. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so let's try this again. So I just turned 5G off, and the messages, all three came through instantly. All right, call line 1. Okay. Now let's text again. You know what? I think I know what the problem is. I know what the problem is. All right, so let me just see. Because I know the issue could have been the Samsung modem or the architecture. So I'm trying to see if the issue's been resolved with missing calls and stuff with 5G enabled. If it's been improved with the Gen 2. Let me go back to the settings and disable enable 5G. Back again, I want to see. And I'm going to go to messages. Because I remember, I just opened the other phone that I sent that from. And it's still showing my number as chat. It's still showing my phone as chat. So because I know it's on the second SIM, Google hasn't updated. So I have to go manually disable this line, remove it from RCS. So it's just going back to SMS. Yep, so the text just came through, but the other phone does have RCS number that I was texting the testers on, and it's still trying to text it as RCS. So I'm going to see if that was the delay. And see if that doesn't eliminate this issue. Turn it off. Yeah, it might be a 5G issue because I sent the verification code twice, and as soon as I turned 5G off, the text came through. Or it could have been delayed, but the timing was too instant. All right, chat's turned off the second line. 5G is enabled for now. If you notice you have an issue with whether you dual or some single SIM and you got 5G turned on, just turn that shit off. And you don't have to worry about missing calls and texts, which is so stupid. Alright, so I want to restart the phone. Oops, just in case. Just to make sure everything is reset. Alright, so chat's turned off. I'm going to delete the text thread on the other phone I'm testing. Let's restart this other phone. Alright, and messages.google.com, disable chat is how you turn off. Just Google that and it's how you disable RCS if you switched phones. So the system now knows it's just SMS, MMS. LTE is on only for the second SIM. I want to see if that makes a difference. Why does it only, it didn't ask me for my second SIM or my PIN number for my first SIM card. That's interesting. All right, let's try this again. All right, so let's call it on another line. Okay, I'm active. Now let's start a new text thread on the second SIM, texting it. This. And like I thought, so the text came right away on digits. And it says, wait a minute. It says delivered, which means it's sent as a chat, but I'm on digits. So digits does RCS now? Hold on a second. This can't be. Let me try calling. Now that is, now let me go to open it in digits and see. Oh, this is so confusing. And it says red. Oh shit. Digits needs a dark theme. Okay, let me respond. It even shows typing indicators. Oh wow. I'm in digits responding. It shows typing indications. Now I don't know that it's RCS on. You know what? It ain't enabled. This other phone is T-Mobile, and I'm in Samsung messages on this other phone. So that could be why it's allowing this to work this way. Now let me hang up. Now the problem with that is going to be if you open that message or responded to it, I want to see if the regular message comes to the messages inbox, and I don't think it does. So it's not a perfect solution, but it should work for the most part. Now let's turn 5G back on and see if we have the same issue. And I'm gonna have to test this periodically to see if it goes down again. Okay, so I switched network types and then the text came through. And it shows text message, which is what it's supposed to do. So I don't know I don't think RCS works with digits. I think it's only because I'm texting from a T-Mobile phone, Samsung, with Samsung messages to that number, which is linked to digits and the Google Messages on the phone app. But the text came through as a SMS. I don't see the response I sent, which I told you before, outgoings don't sync. So it does look like it syncs. Let me test this one more time with 5G on. Even though I know 5G sometimes gives us issues with that. All right, so now we're back on. Welcome. And it's still showing delivered. So this might work if you got T-Mobile, but I still don't like. Oh my God, I'm echoing. All right, so it says delivered, and I got the message. Interesting. Let me try calling. That's so weird. Well, it's not weird, but I don't know why it's happening. Call waiting works. Now I wonder if I answer the phone, what's it gonna do? Hello? 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 So I answered the digits call. Hello? But the second call, or the first call, I don't hear nothing. Hold on. One. All right, so let me hang up the digits call and see what happens. It put them on hold. Hello? All right, so the call says it's on hold, but it won't unhold. Oh, okay, hello? Oh, wow. Okay, so, boom. So, this is in real time. I'm trying to be quick, I'm sorry. Boom, so the text came through. So, the text just came through when I hung up the phone to my Google Messages inbox where I want to back up my text from. Let me see if it shows red. Now I open the message on the phone and it still shows delivered on the sent phone because I didn't read it in digits. Now if I go to digits and open the notification, it now shows red to the sender. And I got the message in my inbox as well. Call waiting works. It put the first call on hold. Boom. Well, let me try a picture. Let me try sending a picture. Okay, you're on a call. Let me send you a picture real quick. This is testing MMS. Okay. that came through. Now, the phone sent it as MMS and not RCS chats, but chats is turned on. I don't wonder why they're not send this chat. But the picture came through digits though. So that's what matters. All right, let me hang up. Okay, so it didn't send the picture through chat. It sent it as MMS. So that might be because I'm on the same network, but I can see the picture. Now let's see if it comes to the Google Messages inbox. All right, so I want to get this video done for you guys. But basically, long story short, at least with the T-Mobile platform and the devices that I mentioned and the setups that I have, it is working. I'm just waiting to see if that message comes to this phone in the Google Messages inbox. So far, nothing. 5G is turned on. Let me go turn it off and see if it comes through. I have MMS send and receive turned on. Okay, yep, it just came through. So it's kind of delayed. I mean, that was, what, 30, 45 seconds after the call ended? But the message came through as well to my inbox on my messages. So high level, I would just try to, I don't have another carrier right now to test if that was a one-off as far as it's showing delivered on that other phone, because that other phone is a T-Mobile branded Samsung, and Digits is able to do that send and receive thing. Internally, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure, I don't think RCS works with T-Mobile Digits. So I'm thinking that's proprietary with the T-Mobile branded devices using RCS. Nonetheless, we see that it does work with SMS, MMS. You may have an issue if you're noticing you're not getting those messages. It might be because you have 5G turned on. Try turning that off depending on how the severity of, the importance of that for you. Getting those messages, single SIM or dual SIM. If you're noticing people are calling you, saying they text you, and you're not getting that information or that correspondence, then it's likely to do with that setting, and just turn it off. I don't know why that's still an issue. I'm thinking it's been resolved. I'm going to keep testing it more. I may make a comment if I come to the conclusion that it's still an issue. But for now, I'm going to just keep 5G turned on and figure out why it's not seamless like it is on 4G LTE in regards to getting your notifications prompt correctly and not missing things like voicemails. But the primary issue I had with dual DSDS is alleviated 90% of the time with using T-Mobile Digits. I hope this has helped someone. I know I was doing this verbally and not showing you because I did not have a camera, and I did not plan on speaking this long. I really was going to be like 2-3 minutes just saying here's a solution, and then I said let me test it live. So I hope the footage and what I've said somehow helps. Oh, this 31 minutes. Fuck.